My name is Isaiah A. Hines. I'm a poet and a scholar. My work is focused on people of the African diaspora, our culture, our politics, and our art. And I recently published my second book of poetry called Anything with Spirit. It was published by Roof Books. And I'm really excited to share it with you. This collection is about vulnerability. It's about race and gender and identity. And it's about kind of the struggle to tell the truth and to be honest with yourself and the world. So thank you everyone for coming. My name is Isaiah Hines. As I think everyone knows here, I'm from South Burlington, so I live in upstate New York now. I live in Troy, New York, so I'm visiting, and I'm really happy to be here because I'm sort of promoting my newest book. It's called Anything with Spirit. So this is my second book, and my first book came out in 2022. And that book is called No Landing. It's also available, and you can check that out, especially if you like anything with spirit. So, yeah, I'll kind of get started, but I don't know, are there any questions before I start? Like, is anyone curious about the process, or?
If you want to. We can take it down if you want.
Okay.
I'm curious to know, like, what was your favorite?
My favorite part about writing a book? That's a good question, yeah. Honestly, I think my favorite part of writing the book is finding the story within it. I think I do a lot of writing here and there all the time, and then you kind of look back and you see what you have, and you find the story within and kind of build that out. But yeah, thank you for that question. Yeah. Okay. So I'll get started with a poem that is inspired by other African American poets. Definitely, in honor of Juneteenth. I think there's a very long lineage of African American poets who do really kind of spiritual work. I see it as poetry is spiritual work. And so I like to think of my work as continuing that tradition or as in line with that tradition. And one of the poets who I identify with that tradition, her name is Margaret Walker. And Margaret Walker is the inspiration for this first poem. So this poem is called Afropolarity. We don't all remember the awkward child we once were. Loved, light, but not all right, fighting for something that can't or will not be. This has let me see, from right here in this perpendicular moment, my vantage and my whim. Tell me what exactly I feel ashamed of, beloved. Don't I want to be able to look back on those memories fondly? Don't I want to know myself freely and loudly and openly again? If so, dig this. I am an addict. So what? I hurt somebody, a person. So now what? Begin from my ruined heart. As a poet, my starting point is often public language. So that which can be represented via the common lexicon. But I do have a voice. Northerner, city man, sitting sorrowful, and the worst thing I could possibly imagine is that there is absolutely nothing wrong with me. I think the universe has not yet made up its mind about me. An incantation for zero captures changes me like discovery or rot, asking if I'm really scared. Yes. Open, nevertheless, shake, writhe, and furl. I will not hand you half an open hand. I do it anyway. I begin again. I am reminded of you, thinking now, of where, how to position my bed in my new room. Something I wouldn't have noticed otherwise is that when your bed is in the middle of the room, you can rise more easily from sleep without waking your partner. And I forget at times how borderline I am, orbiting paranoid and syncophrenic black poles of frigid and fervid liminality, ever feeling one's thirdness, the counter-hegemony of an idiom of one's own. And I am grateful for that, which I do not yet understand, and will not. That too, even this cockeyed refrain, I love. We cursed folk, still confused and crazed, but maybe we don't need that uncrossing. For elegua is beyond good or evil. Yes, I am crazy. I rest with the rawest black personalities and granddaddy's most sacred musicians. Thank you. If you can kind of get a feel for it, this poem is very much about vulnerability and searching for like a sort of rawness or a sort of honesty, and thinking about, of course, like people like Margaret Walker, who I mentioned earlier, how they have tried to reach that kind of honesty through poetry. So that's what I was hoping for, or what I was reaching for with that poem. So, and this next one is also after an elder poet, just another poet that I was really influenced by as a young person. And this is the poet William Carlos Williams. He has a poem called The Polar Bear, and very influential for me. So this one is called Why Polar Bears Are Black. They have black skin, symbolizing resilience, patience, and determination, needed to survive in a harsh climate. Animating Arctic intelligences, living in the polar imaginary, not no man's land, far from empty, and actually teeming with life, really. Thank you. I think I will read actually a poem that I wrote during my younger years. Let's see. And I wanted to include this poem. I wrote it now many years ago, I think when I was 11. And I wanted to include this poem in this collection because part of this collection is sort of reckoning with the past and remembering my childhood, remembering my youth. So this is a poem written at age 11, and it's called Sky Thief. A shadow fell to the ground behind me. I ran, but the shadow followed, until it ate up the whole world around me. I looked up at the sky and gasped. It has turned black as midnight, as if the sun had gone out. I was bathed in the black of the sky. I knew I was being watched by unseen eyes. I was petrified. I screamed for help, but no sound came out. Then finally, I found my voice. I yelled, "Stop, let the light shine freely." And it did. I can make a difference. Now I believe. The sun shone brightly through the darkness. My fear was replaced by joy. I laughed out loud. The sun came back. Finally, it was over. But sometimes I still wonder who stole it. The sky, I mean. Thank you. So as I was writing this book, I was revisiting a lot of poetry that I wrote a long time ago. And I found there was a quality in those poems that I really liked and appreciated. And I wanted to kind of recapture that. Or maybe I couldn't actually recapture that, but I wanted to learn from my younger self, basically. So I really am trying to do that with this collection. So if that speaks to you, there might be some poems in here that you connect with. This is a poem written after or inspired by another elder poet, a great African-American woman poet named Mary Evans. And so this is sort of my response to one of her poems. And it's called, "Let Me Tell You How to Meet the Day." There really are no bad poems, are there? Like people, there are poems that you write that you distrust. Poems which you have to write in order to write the poems you want to write, and in order to be the poet you want to be. These poems, they aren't quite good enough. They could be better, and they're not the best to you. You write the poem anyway, knowing somewhere in you it won't be the last. That is how you meet the day. Understanding that this will be the reason you are still a writer. Years later, still a poet, because of this here poem, that you be. Thank you. Okay, and I think I have time for a few more, if that's okay with you guys. This next one I want to read is for a poet who was someone I looked up to a lot and sort of like a mentor of mine. Some of you may know him, Reuben Jackson. And he passed away in 2024. And I wrote this poem for him while he was still alive, and just actually in response to a really great Facebook post he wrote. He would often write like really great philosophical musings on his social media, and that was, I just saw one he wrote and I had to respond to it. And he was writing about how, he was talking about family, and he was talking about his parents, and said something along the lines of, we're all variations on a theme, like kind of I'm in some ways, a variation of my mother, and I take on certain aspects of her, or they get passed down. And yeah, so a little context, but this poem is for Ruben, and it's called We Are All Variations on a Theme. We travel so much further, cover much greater distances, to still end up side reel and in somebody else's backyard. We go all the way to the pole and choose the equator. Polarity is also a quality of light. It's how we refract what would otherwise be just experience, living criteria that returns changed in profound difference, in rebellious circuitry. Thank you. Okay. Okay, I'm looking for a particular poem. This one. So here's another one that sort of responds to or is inspired by a great poet, Amiri Baraka, or Leroy Jones, depending on which name you knew him by. This poem is called Poetic Controversy. My work is difficult, intricate, layered, not unlike myself. I am not a disagreeable person. I am most unforgettable. See how I talk past myself, and you read past me, finding only yourself. Already busy, already meeting in the room made by your head. Line by line, thread by thread, who will be the last letter standing? Thrust forth through iron, snow, and dread. Thank you. Okay. And I have a couple more that I'd like to share. Okay. So this poem is called Why Don't We Dance More? It leaves me breathless, knocks the wind out of me every time. How much I don't know, how much I have lost and forgotten, so much my Afro-insularity, my provincialisms stunt me. And I take pleasure in an empty gap. Thank you. Okay, and I have, I think, one more I'd like to share. Actually, I will share maybe just two more. This poem is called A Long Walk. And something else, if you get a chance to read this collection, you'll notice I'm using a lot of quatrains. So these are 4-line poems, basically. And this was a poem that I remember learning when I was a student here at Rick Marcotte Central School. And so, again, revisiting some older themes, but I really came to love the quatrain as a form, as a poetic form. And so here's a quatrain. It's called A Long Walk. What are we talking toward? We must continuously orient ourselves toward liberation, asking the questions that will help us get free. Thank you. And those little poems are challenged to, pack a lot. I try to pack a lot into a short, just a few lines, so I really enjoy them. If you're interested in writing poetry, I recommend, maybe starting with a form like that and can really get you going. I think I'll end actually with this poem. This is also sort of on the theme of family and roots. And this poem is called Unfinished Business. Those of us who deal in doubt, those who are wrestling with writing about family genealogies, little histories, maybe we are our parents' unfinished business, the residue of ancestors' deferred dreams, and ours. We who are hurt in love, we who speak from a place of pain, we who have failed to contribute knowledge and information deemed necessary for a better world and an understanding of the human experience within it. Let me speak. Take me serious. Humor me. Return the gesture. Let me begin for my dissatisfactions and hopes, the point of my inability to provide an objective perspective. My commitment to reducing suffering wherever it arises, whether self-inflicted or not. The disappointment of my subjectivity. This account is interested. I do have an agenda. I do this to get free and to get all my peoples free, my community, we who have lost faith and founded truth, previously unknown to man. We welded, built cathedrals, weathered every storm. We who have fallen from grace, with each blow I send out a new root. With each fall, I earn the soil's trust, and I become, born, live, or die. Steady, we already have everything we need. I already have everything I need to be. They say nobody could have known. They say it was unforeseeable, but some did know. How did they know what they knew? Are we to think it is mere coincidence, even as we generate evidence? That suggests the possibility. Thank you. Thank you all for coming. This is really great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support and coming out. I do have some books for sale if you're interested, but you'll also be able to check out the book from the library if you'd like to do that as well. Yeah, thank you.